Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got Jonathan Rose on with me. He is with Genesis Gold Group, and we're going to be talking about gold today. So, Jonathan, welcome back to the Prophecy Club.
Hello, Stan. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Well, let me also say in front of everybody, you guys really helped us. So, if you guys need gold and silver, if you can get it from them, they help us to keep going, help us to reach out to more people. So thank you for your help, sir.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you saying that. But always a pleasure talking to you and educating people. The content that you're bringing to your listeners is very important and always in a timely manner. I know you've got a great show today. You were peppering me with some questions. My wheels are already turning like, wow, this is great subjects, great. Happy to talk about it. So, yeah, absolutely ready to dive in and what's on your mind.
Okay, the big question is the Genius Act. There are some people that are saying, "Oh no, it's terrible, it's terrible. It's going to bring in a digital currency." Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is saying absolutely no way, it's no good. And I think she was the only one that didn't vote for it, the only Republican anyway. Then others are saying, "Oh, it's going to be really, really good." So, from a gold and silver guy's perspective, tell us about the Genius Act and tell us if it's going to be good.
Yeah, obviously doesn't have a lot to do with precious metals, but it is close to my heart because now we're talking about alternative assets. And when you talk about alternative assets, you're talking about assets like gold and silver. And today you can't mention alternative assets without talking about cryptocurrencies. And I think there's a little bit of a distinction that people need to understand that cryptocurrencies is going to be very different than CBDCs, which is central bank digital currency.
Explain.
Yeah, so CBDCs is very bad. You want to stay away from central bank digital currencies because that's going to be overreach. It's almost, I always call it like the mark of the beast, CBDCs, because it's about control, what you're spending, how you're spending. Cryptocurrencies isn't owned by the government. Cryptocurrencies is what we call decentralized finance. So one of the reasons why people buy gold and silver is because it's not tied to any political hedge, has no political baggage attached to it. And it's the same with cryptocurrencies where it's decentralized and there's really no overreach. CBDCs, on the other hand, would be controlled by, the big brother. So there's
okay, then maybe you can help me to understand something. What's the difference between a stable coin and cryptocurrency?
Okay, good question, because they're all kind of now blending into each other. And to answer that, I'm going to go back
to your brain, man.
To your first question, which is about, just to make my screen brighter here, there we go. What is the Genius Act? The Genius Act is to do with cryptocurrencies and it's to do with stable coins. So in the past, when people were in cryptocurrencies, they have a stable coin, and a stable coin is a representation of $1. And the reason why we have stable coins is because obviously when you mention cryptocurrency, the word volatility jumps into play. And we've seen it go up and down, up and down. Well, sometimes people want to leave cryptocurrencies. They don't want to leave the market, but they want to stay in a cash position. They want to stay in a stable position. So they move into a stable coin. And the only value of a stable coin is $1. You have one stable coin, $1. You have $100,000, you have 100,000 stable coins.
Okay, let me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to understand this. My understanding of I need you to clarify this for me. Stable coin or a cryptocurrency or a digital what? My understanding is it's this little digital box that is all digital, but it can't be broken into. But you can email that or send through the electronic means around the world. And when it leaves here, it can't be opened. When it arrives there, it can't be opened unless you have a password. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Kind of, in simple terms. So if we drew a line down the page and we put cryptocurrencies, I could put in there words, which we could do for another show, but like words like stable coins, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, and I can break down all of what these are. On the other line, we could put CBDCs, and underneath that, I would just write BAD, B-A-D.
Banks,
Yeah,
controlling your money.
exactly. They're two different things. Don't group them together. But just flying back to the Genius Act, how I said like $1 was worth, one stable coin.
Right.
Because think of when you say stable coin, think of it as stable. That's why they park their money there. But now the Genius Act is really bringing in infrastructure, and it's bringing in regulation. What's that regulation? Well, the people who sell these stable coins, because they're stable, they're saying we want to make sure that they are stable. If you're saying they're stable, we want audited returns to show that in a bank somewhere that you have assets that are backing up that stable coin. So we don't want just your word for it. We want physical audited financials to see that if there's $1 million in stable coins, there's $1 million in fiat money backing that up.
So the Genius Act gave stability to the wild and crazy blowing around with every wind cryptocurrency. It gave stability to cryptocurrency.
Yes, it gave stability, and it was about infrastructure. Making sure that you don't have, when cowboys, they say, I don't know if they have the same expression in England, but where I'm from, funny accent, that's why I talk like this, right? But when in England you have a builder and they build you a house and the work's really bad or shoddy, as we say, oh, cowboys built that, right? It wasn't built to par, and it can fall apart. Well, really what the Genius Act is doing is like, you can still build the house, but now we have to have licensed contractors, they have to have insurance, and it needs to be built the right way.
So it's basically financial codes. You just can't run a wire any place you want to. You can't use sub-quality concrete, things like that.
Yeah,
for stable coins.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's just legitimizing that whole industry.
Okay, so what does that mean to us?
Well, it means for people that want exposure to cryptocurrency, who have been scared in the past, are now kind of being lured in, so to speak, to say, hey, this was a risky asset in the past. It still is considered a risky asset, but they're building the infrastructure, and you're seeing full adoption every day with cryptocurrency. And the main reason why banks are bringing on these stable coins and they want regulations, because what do banks do every day? They send money backwards and forwards, right?
It makes it easier.
So the old-fashioned way of sending a bank wire internationally, if I send money home to my family members, I've got to get the banking details. It's pages long. I then send it. It maybe cost me $35. It could take 2 days for it to hit on their side. It could possibly, I haven't received it yet. What's happening? Then I've got to trace down the wire. When everything is moving to digital stable coins and cryptocurrency through payment rails, the money, boom, it hits straight away, and it costs less money. So really, it's just that iPhone moment, right? When
Isn't it really the one of the main purposes, or maybe one of the main advantages, is to go around the SWIFT system, to go around the Federal Reserve and all of that international banking cabal?
Well, there is that as well. So that's what the Federal Reserve and the banking cabal are trying to do. They're realizing they're losing so much money with people circumnavigating the Federal Reserve that they want to be in control of this. They want everything flowing through them.
So what you're saying is the Genius Act made the good guys do it right. All of them have to do it right. And it gave stability to a digital currency system to be able to go global if they want to take it there. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. And it's happening now. Yeah.
Now, does that mean also that in the future we could very possibly see coins and paper dollars go away?
No. So this is a big misconception as well. Not anytime soon. Now, could you see the US dollar losing its world reserve currency and being replaced by crypto? absolutely, in the future, you could see, an asset like Bitcoin replacing the dollar. Is it going to happen overnight? No, but we're heading that way. This is the direction that the US is going. Now, we'll always have fiat currency. The dollars in your pocket aren't going away. But what we're seeing right now is the evolution of money. And I guess we need to do a whole show because, I'm very involved in crypto. We're here to talk about gold and silver, but if people want to know more about crypto, I'm just going to do
that was my question.
A shameless plug, blocktrustira.com. If people want to know about cryptocurrency, they can go to blocktrustira.com. Maybe we can just put that up on the screen quickly for people. And cryptocurrency is the future. I will do I will come back on if you'll have me gracefully. I will
have you. You want soon enough.
I will come on and we'll do like an educational series because I think education is key. Education is important. You're asking me great questions, and these are questions people want to know about. And there's a big seismic shift happening in the financial industry, and a lot of it is heading towards cryptocurrency. It's in the news a lot, so we can definitely cover that. But
now let me get to the big question. Every prophecy student, since we could talk, we have all been watching for the mark of the beast. And when this Genius Act comes out, I think it's the good guys trying to go around the bad guys. And at least at this point, it's good. But at some point, it's got to turn to the mark of the beast. The bad guys got to take over somehow. Is that understanding correct?
Well, there's always a battle between good and evil.
Yeah.
Right? And they find their way in there somewhere. When you look at this banking cartel, I think they're the worst of the worst out there. They train us to take out these big loans, take out these big credit cards, stay in debt because they want you in debt. They're like big pharma. They want to keep you hooked. So, big banks eventually are going to jump on the bandwagon. They already are, and try and establish this industry for themselves and see how they can also capitalize from people. So like anything in life, you have to do your research and know how to do things the right way versus the wrong way, and who to work with and who to trust. So we will definitely, have a series about digital assets. I'll be happy to come on and start
educating the
important people out there, because alternative assets, you can't talk about gold and silver now without mentioning cryptocurrency, right? You can't talk about cryptocurrency without someone mentioning gold and silver. Gold and silver is a stability play. It's insurance for your money. People look to get into cryptocurrency for more financial freedom, to break away from. Well, they're trying to break away from the Wall Street matrix. They're trying to break away from these measly returns, these mutual funds that are losing them money. Don't forget, the US trade deficit now, we're at $37 trillion in debt. We are a runaway juggernaut of debt right now. It's like a locomotive. It's going to derail. And this is why people are talking about cryptocurrencies as a new payment system, because the dollar is going to go off a cliff. And there's a new monetary order, new world order that's coming in. And it is to do with crypto and gold and silver. So these are the two asset plays people are looking at right now. When you look at the price of gold, it's up 40% in the past year. Gold is now, it was hovering at $3,400 just the other week. Silver's at $39. I've been saying when I have come on that silver's extremely undervalued with you ever since silver was at about $23, $25 an ounce. So gold and silver is doing what it's meant to be doing. It's a hedge, it's a protection. And I think in this day and age that we're living in, there's a lot of uncertainty going on politically. I mean, look what's happening to the Republican.
Okay, let me talk about that. Let me ask about that. Okay, so now I know you're not the prophecy student, but we have talked about massive arrests. And now in this week, okay, so Tulsi Gabbard gets up there and says, it's Obama. The whole thing, it's Obama behind it. He's got these other henchmen around him, but this whole thing was a big lie. This Russia hoax is a big lie. And she's saying she has sent the referrals over to Pam Bondi. In other words, when she's saying that, she's saying that there's about to be a bunch of arrests. Okay, now we know that's coming, but for the folks who've been following Prophecy Club for a while, know that these arrests have been coming and stacking up since 2017. Now, here's my question. All of a sudden, there's massive arrests. In other words, these ICE people aren't out arresting immigrants. They may be, but my understanding is it's not ICE. It's not civil. This is military. In other words, military Marines, maybe Army, are arresting these people, and they're going into military tribunals where they stand before 3 judges. And yes, you can appeal, but you're pretty much wasting your time. And they actually take them onto either a boat or a military base, and they give them a military tribunal. Now, and I'm not asking if you believe all that. I'm asking you, if that happens, what is that going to mean for gold and silver?
It's a great question. And it's a question that people don't want you talking about. It's a question they want the lid kept on firmly, right. And the lid keeps slipping off. What we're talking about here is instability in the whole government infrastructure right now. Time. Big cover-ups going on. Yes. Massive cover-ups. This whole Russian hoax, which is probably going to have heads roll, people go to jail, newspapers being sued. And I think there's a massive, I do agree with you, there's a massive cover-up that's going on. The instability that is occurring on the top level, I think there's going to be a meltdown. And you talk a lot about infrastructure and in-house fighting and riots in the street. Right. You see that's picking up, and that's becoming more and more. That destabilization effect is going to be, well, we talk about precious metals, it's going to be very positive for an asset like gold and silver.
That's what I was going to say. It seems to me like your business would not be slow, but if those people that understand that massive arrests are on the way, maybe they hadn't started yet, but they can see the writing on the wall now. Okay, they can see that the arrests are no longer over the horizon; they're now at the mailbox, and they're about to be at the front door. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me like if there's a time to get precious metals, gold, silver, the whatever, now is a big time. Or am I wrong?
No, you are right. I look at the sum of all parts. So for me personally, one singular event doesn't make me run to buy precious metals. There's a little saying that we have: you don't wait to buy gold, you buy gold and wait. And when you look at world events, when you look at political events, when you look at financial events, you got to look at the sum of all parts. And I'm just going to go back to my main biggest indicator: debt. Debt does matter. The US economy is about to have a massive economic heart attack. Why is that? Because our debt isn't going down, it keeps going up. At some point, it's like an elastic band. You keep pulling it, it's going to snap. And when it snaps, all the value is going to lose out of the US dollar. That's going to rise the prices. Whilst this band is stretching, other world events, other countries and top world leaders are looking at this, right. And they start moving out of the US dollar because they know it's a currency that's going to snap and it's weakening. So they move into alternative assets, particularly gold and silver, because gold and silver is a store of value. And when you throw in, it's like match on a gasoline, you start throwing in destabilization through government, through infighting, through riots, through press, through wars. It's a recipe for disaster. So I still think gold is relatively undervalued and cheap. Nothing cheap about $3,400 an ounce for gold. I should say inexpensive, because there's nothing cheap about gold. But I will say $7,000 an ounce for gold within, I would say, probably 5 years conservatively. And expect, silver right now is $38, $39. $75, and I probably, can realistically see that in 3 years or less. So I think silver, which, by the way, silver shortages are currently happening. I can actually report firsthand now that there are silver shortages. Why is that a tongue twister for me today? Silver shortages for today. there's plenty of that going on. So
okay, well, let me first of all, let me give you a disclaimer. I am not giving financial advice, but somebody sent me, by the way, thank you so much for your emails. Somebody sent me an email that sent me over to Tesla. This Tesla has discovered a new kind of a battery. Right now, everybody knows about an lithium ion batteries. Tesla has just come out and has announced and is making some 500,000 of these batteries daily. It's a silver ion battery. Instead of based upon lithium, it's based upon silver. So, what do you think that's going to do to the price of silver? Now, there's more. Okay, so silver ion weighs about one third. It holds about one third more energy. It lasts 10 to 15 years, and it absolutely does not catch on fire. Now, let me tie this in with something else. Uh, I'm kind of, I haven't told them, but I'm sort of into this. Okay, I know about batteries and I know about electronics. Um, it's too lengthy to explain. But this is how a rotary or a radial electric motor works. This is how an axial motor works. The axial motor has about one third more power. It weighs about one third. And in my opinion, now that Tesla's come out with this silver battery, and there's companies, and I don't have time to go into it, but there's companies already making the electric cars out of axial motors, not radial motors. All of a sudden, I think in the next 5 years, combustion engines will not, they'll still be out there, but they will not be able to compete with electric. Now, what's all that saying? It's saying that silver is about to go, in my opinion, go up in price. I'm not giving financial advice. But here's the problem. My understanding is that they seem to always be finding more gold mines, more gold here and there, but they're not finding more silver mines. The silver they're pulling out is pulling out of the same hole in the same place. In other words, there's limited amounts of silver. Your comment, please.
absolutely, silver mines are drying up. It's been many, many years since they had their last finding of a silver mine. And you're right, electronical aspects of silver has sent demand soaring, supply is limited. And also, don't forget, military application. A lot of missiles use a lot of silver. Guidance systems, they use silver. Solar panels uses silver. So just the electronic aspect of silver is just the demand is a chart. It's going up, 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 up. And premiums, we're beginning to see these premiums squeeze and squeeze. And when we see that, that is a sure indicator in our industry that premiums are going to continue to rise.
How is it that they can keep silver artificially low? I don't understand how they can control.
Not anymore. We've blown past artificially keeping metals low now, especially when you look at the silver to gold ratio. We are just looking at a point in time now when that silver to gold ratio chart is flashing, buy me, buy me. So this is the time to get into silver. And the good thing about gold and silver, there's many ways you can hold it. It can be in coins, it can be in bars. You want to physically hold on to it. If you don't hold on to it, you don't own it. I've always been a big supporter of placing precious metals in an IRA, a 401k, a TSP, because you can roll over these plans tax-free, penalty-free, and you can store precious metals in a licensed depository, has your name on it, you can take it whenever you want, and you can have physical metals in there. Now, what are the advantages of doing this besides it being a tax-free rollover, which makes a lot of sense? Well, the advantages are, as the dollar continues to weaken and grow in debt, as we saw more decentralization in terms of instability in the government and in the workforce, in the housing market, and as everything begins to crumble, that store of worth in your retirement account is going to grow. It's going to keep pace with inflation. It's going to protect you from market uncertainty. And a lot of people who are retired, they've been through cycles where the markets have crashed. And if you speak to a financial advisor, they'll say to you, oh, it will come back. And they're right, Stan, it will come back. But how long? 6 years, 7 years, 12 years. people who are retired, they can't wait that long. They want to make sure their money is available now, and it's safe and secure. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is in precious metals, gold and silver that you hold on to, whether it's in an IRA, 401k, TSP, you name it, retirement plan, or you physically hold on to it and keep it at home.
Okay, so you can get a hold of him by calling 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD or prophecyclubgold.com. But tell them about the new book.
This is the first time we've mentioned this on Prophecy Club, but we have this book. It's not, I wish I wrote it, I didn't, but I was given this book and I read it. It's actually from Pastor Alan Armstrong. He's in Canada, I believe. And he wrote this book, The Bible and Gold, the importance of biblical finances. And it really resonated with me. But really what the book's about, it's a theological journey about money. So this isn't like a sales pitch where people are going to scream at you, buy gold. It's, if you're into history and you want to understand the theological journey of money, of how we got here, this is a great read. And it's going to show you the importance of gold's role in today's society and why people hold on to gold now, because gold is what we call honest money. The US dollar, fiat money, which gets printed and printed, not honest money. And it breaks down why fiat money is going to end. And it also talks about what happened in 1971, which is going to be for another show. But in 1971, very quickly, Stan, we came off of the gold standard. And when we came off of the gold standard and we went to free trade, we started printing money. That's when all the big problems happened in America. Obesity rose, divorce rose, unemployment rose. Why is that? Because in 1971, we came off of the gold standard, everything became more expensive. So food manufacturers, they couldn't afford the prime organic ingredients. They started turning to additives and fruit corn, sugar, and all of that horrible garbage that goes in our food. What happened? Obesity went up. Diabetes went up, okay? We came off of the gold standard, money, free trade, inflation kicked in, households, not just the husband was working, the wife had to go to work. We became two household incomes. That caused divorce. So
you give the book away free.
We do. We have a URL specially for this for you. I think we're going to put it
prophecyclubgoldbible.com. prophecyclubgoldbible.com.
It's a mouthful, so we'll put it up on the screen. prophecyclubbible.com. Put in your name and address on this sheet. We'll send this to you absolutely 100% free. I'm going to send it to your audience free. Postage, shipping included, everything. And it's going to give you a very insightful and impactful history lesson on a theological journey of money, how we got to where we are with money today in terms of debt, and why gold is considered honest money. So I do urge your audience to get this because it is free. It's a great lesson on money.
Jonathan Rose, once again, thank you, sir, so much for coming on. Please come on again much sooner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
800-200-GOLD or prophecyclubgoldbible.com.